Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
Steve.
And we've just finished playing Fugitive. Now, this is a two-player game, which is why there's only two of us. And in the game, one of you takes on the Fugitive, and one player takes on the Marshal. And it's like a cat and mouse game. So on the Fugitive's turn, in this case Steve is the Fugitive, he would draw a card from one of these piles, and the piles are numbered. So the numbers from 4 to 14 are here, 15 to 28 here, and 29 to 41 here. So he can pick which pile he wants to pick from. That's going to be one of the cards in 15 to 28. And then he places a hideout at the end of this line. We've been building these up like this, and he places a hideout at the end, which is going to follow on from the previous ones. Now we always start with a 0, and the first hideout he played, originally these were all face down, and I had to guess this. So when it's my turn as the Marshal, I get to draw a card. So I draw this card, and it's my hand. And then if we look at my hand of cards here, get them the right way around, these numbers I know he can't have, and he can't have played them because there's only one copy of each of these numbers. You've got one copy of every number up to 42 is the final card. So when it's my turn, I'm trying to guess. So after 0, I could try and guess 1, for instance, and yes, that was the card, so if I guess it, it's revealed. Now, in terms of what he can play, he doesn't play them all in order like this, but he can play up to 3 more than the previous card. So after the 0, he could have played 1, 2, or 3. Once I guess it, then I cross it out like this down here, and then another turn I'd later guess this was 3. So he hasn't played the 2 here. I don't have the 2 in my hand here, so he might still have the 2 in his hand, or it might be one of these other cards here. But that means that when it's my turn, in terms of guessing the next one after this, which is kind of where we got up to, this card could be the 4, the 5, or the 6. It's got to be up to 3 more than this one. So I can look, it can't be the 6 because I've got the 6. And then I'm trying to guess, maybe ones from I've crossed off here. I'm trying to work out what the card is. Now you see some of these have got 2 cards here. You can also add sprint cards. Each of these cards got a little footprint to the top right. The even ones have got 2 and the odd ones have got 1. And if he adds a card to here, we're just going to sneakily look at this. So this hideout card was number 9, but he'd put a sprint card with it, the 10, which added 2. So in terms of how this worked out, from the 3 he was able to get to the 4, and from the 4 he was able to get all the way to the 9, because 4 plus 3 would take you to 7, plus the 2 from the sprint means he can get all the way up to 9. So that's how he's able to jump far ahead. So you can use sprint cards to go further ahead, but then you're using up other cards that you might be able to use to place hideouts. The ultimate objective of the game here is the Marshal, which is me, is trying to guess all of the hideouts, and the Fugitive, Steve, is trying to get to, have you got the number 42? Yes, if he gets to 42 and plays that, he flies away and manages to escape. So it's a deduction game. You're looking at the cards you've got. There are some event cards that come into play as well, which might advantage one player or another depending on the state of play at the time. But whoever escapes or catches the other player is the winner. What do you think?
I love the idea of the game. We played 3 games, but sadly the Marshal won fairly easily 3 times. 2 quite easily, and 1 that actually put up a bit of a fight, but still got caught. Because I've only played it 3 times, I don't know how balanced it is. It feels like if you're good at deduction and good at logic, it feels like the Marshal has an edge. I like the idea of the event cards. The event cards effectively allow you a catch-up mechanism, but when they come out, the person who's currently behind in the game gets it. Now, I still think the Marshal has an edge, and in the game we played, Jonathan got both event cards in his favour, and even though he can speed up later in the game, he benefited him twice there. So I'm not sure I like that side of it. Another thing Jonathan didn't mention, that he can guess as many hideouts as he wants, and only if all his guesses are right do I reveal them. So Jonathan might go, I think you've played the 3 and the 4, and I look, and if I've played the 3 and the 5, I go, no, you were wrong. I don't reveal any of them. So he still doesn't know whether I've got the 3 or the 4 out, or the 5 effectively. So you can either make 1 guess if you're certain, turn it over, or you can make 2 guesses. And the fact is that the Fugitive starts with 2 hideouts out in the game. At some point, Jonathan's going to have to make 2 guesses to win, otherwise he can never win. He needs to get 2 right at some point in the game. I like the idea of the game. I think the art's nice. I think the speed in which you play is nice. It's a bit confusing to explain, but otherwise, yeah, I'd happily give it another go.
All right, rating out of 10?
Long term, if there is an edge to one player or the other, I don't think I can rate it higher than a 6. I wonder if you could maybe give the Fugitive 1 to 4 to start the game with, instead of 1 to 3. Maybe that would give them an edge. There's 1 extra card they can play. Otherwise, I'd probably give it a tentative 6. If we play it a few more times and it's more balanced than it is, I'd probably raise my grade.
Okay. I really like it. That tension between, for either side, knowing when to use cards or not to use cards, and the marshal's trying to think, has he bluffed? Because when you play the sprint cards, you don't have to go the extra distance. You could put several sprint cards down and only put a card one higher than the previous card. So there's a little bit of bluff that comes in, and there's plenty to think about. It's a fairly quick game, but it does keep you fully engaged, thinking all the way through. I've played it quite a few times now with a couple of other people, and I've seen the Fugitive win, I've seen the Marshal win plenty of times. So it feels balanced enough to me, but Steve is a much better player with these kind of logical deduction games than probably the other people I've played with, so I can understand his comments. I do like it. I think I'd be on a 7 out of 10. Alright, thanks for watching. That was Fugitive.